In House of the Dragon Season 2 finale, Rhaenyra Targaryen and Daemon Targaryen, along with 4 other dragons and dragonriders and joined by Corlys Velaryon's forces from the sea, will take King's Landing from Aegon and the Greens. According to the leak source, which has been accurate for everything about Season 2 so far, in the Season 2 finale we'll see the fall of King's Landing while in the Battle of the Gullet. Even Jaehaerys dies has been moved to Season 3 due to budget issues. We'll only see the Triarchy ship sailing towards the Gullet at the end of Season 2, as we can see in the shot as a little tease about what's to come in Season 3. The leak says that the last episode of Season 2 will start with Rhaenyra arriving at Harrenhal to meet with Daemon. And here's a shot of Rhaenyra arriving on her dragon Syrax at Harrenhal. Rhaenyra goes to Harrenhal in order to plan how the assault on King's Landing will be carried out with her husband Daemon, who has amassed a large number of the Riverland soldiers there. The prelude to the fall of King's Landing is Aemond, Prince Regent and Protector of the Realm, taking out all armies from King's Landing including his dragon Vhagar, and marching to face Daemon at Harrenhal, which leaves King's Landing defenseless. This will start taking place in the next episode when we see Daemon continuing to assemble an army at Harrenhal, which worries Criston Cole, who states if Daemon prevails in the Riverlands, I no longer have the numbers to challenge him. Aemond and Criston will start planning their march on Harrenhal to confront Daemon and retake Harrenhal. Aemond and Criston will gather their green forces and march on Harrenhal together with Vhagar. This creates an opportunity that the Black sees. Daemon abandons Harrenhal when Aemond and Criston begin marching on the Great Castle with a host of greens. Daemon on Criston and Queen Rhaenyra on Syrax fly to King's Landing, joined by Rhaenyra's new dragons and their dragonriders Adam and Seasmoke, Hugh and Vermithor, Ulf and Silverwing, while Jaehaerys stays behind with Wormax and Baela with Moondancer to protect Dragonstone. The fleet of the Sea Snake, Lord Corlys Velaryon, also sails for King's Landing and arrives to the east of the Blackwater Bay. The sight of Daemon on Criston and Rhaenyra on Syrax over King's Landing sends the city into a panic. The Greens try to send riders to bring back Aemond and Ravens to lead lords, but their efforts are quickly stopped. Unknown to the Greens is that the Gold Cloaks, the city watch of King's Landing, have turned. The Gold Cloaks have always been loyal to Daemon, who had once been their leader. When Grand Maester Orwyle goes to dispatch Ravens, he is beaten and bound by Gold Cloaks as he arrives in his chambers. The 7 commanders of the city gates who have been chosen for their loyalty to King Aegon are either imprisoned or killed the moment Daemon and Criston are spotted over the Red Keep. Sir Gawain Hightower, the second in command of the City Watch, rushes to the stables to sound the alarm, but he is seized, disarmed and dragged before his own commander Luther Largent, who is still loyal to Daemon. Sir Luther is the commander of the Gold Cloaks, who might be changed into a new character called Clay on the show. Gawain denounces him as a turncloak, to which Luther replies, Daemon gave us these cloaks and they're gold, no matter how you turn them. Luther then drives his sword through Hightower's belly, and orders the city gates to be opened to the Black's army pouring in from the Sea Snake's ships. 13 House Hightower knights and 100 men-at-arms managed to hold the river gate for 8 hours from both attacks without and within the city. The other 6 gates, however, fall swiftly, and the Black's army enters the city without much fighting through those gates. The city falls in less than a day. Seeing hope is lost, the Greens order their forces to surrender. King Aegon escapes the fall of King's Landing. He's smuggled out by Larry Strong. Aegon disguises as one of the small folk and escapes on a fishing boat, later arriving on Dragonstone, where he convinces several Blacks to defect and help him take the island. During the fall of Dragonstone, he fights Princess Baela Targaryen, both of them mounted on dragons. Otto Hightower and Jesper Wilde are executed for treason, but the show might change Otto's death with Helena's. Lords Rosby and Stokeworth try to switch their allegiances back to Rhaenyra, but she refuses and orders their executions. Alicent is spared. Sir Tywin Lannister is tortured for information on where he has hidden the crown's treasure. Grand Maester Orwyle is confined in the Black Cells. At Harrenhal, Aemond and Criston finally arrive to find the castle empty. At first, Aemond sees this is a great victory, but he's outraged upon learning that Daemon has flown away on Criston to aid Rhaenyra with the fall of King's Landing. After recapturing Harrenhal, Aemond orders the deaths of Sir Simon Strong and his kin. Alice Rivers is spared, however, and becomes Aemond's bedmate. At King's Landing, Queen Rhaenyra seizes the Iron Throne, although many lords note she cut herself upon the throne, starting rumors that the throne has rejected her. At first, the population of the city will welcome Rhaenyra's ascent to the Iron Throne, as Aegon II and Aemond have not been much loved. In time, however, with more executions happening daily and more taxes being raised to fund the wars, the population will begin to hate Rhaenyra, calling her the new King Maegor the Cruel. In the Season 2 finale, we'll see the battle and fall of King's Landing. The scale of this battle is expected to exceed even that of the battle at Rook's Rest. While we see the battle in episode 8, the aftermath of it, including Rhaenyra sitting on the Iron Throne, will not take place before season 3. Another thing that was supposed to take place in season 2 but has been pushed to season 3 is the Battle of the Gullet, which was supposed to happen before the fall of King's Landing. But due to budget issues and also showrunners wanting to keep Jacaerys alive for a little longer, it's been pushed to season 3. The Battle of the Gullet will see the death of Jacaerys and his dragon, and the abduction of Prince Viserys. In the prelude of the battle, we'll also lose another dragon, Prince Aegon Stormcloud. In season 2, we'll see the Triarchy leader Shirako Lohar meeting with the Greens, forging an alliance with the Greens, and we'll even see 90 of their ships sailing towards the Gullet as we can see here. But it's only a little teaser for what's to come in season 3. In the season 2 finale in the Vale, Rhaena will send Aegon and Viserys along with a small dragon Stormcloud and dragon eggs off to Pentos on a ship, following Rhaenyra's instructions but not protecting them herself. Instead of going with them, Rhaena, who will claim the Wild Dragon Sheepstealer and replace Nettles on the show, will fly away to join everyone at King's Landing. This will turn out to be a grave mistake as the Triarchy's ships are sailing straight towards them. The Triarchy is an alliance of the free cities of Myr, Lys and Tyrosh. We saw them fighting against Daemon at the Stepstones. The prelude to the Battle of the Gullet is the Velaryon fleet blockading the Gullet and Blackwater Bay. Aegon's side reaches across the narrow sea to the Triarchy, which they know to be an enemy of Daemon, hoping to persuade them to move against Corlys and break his blockade. The High Council of the Triarchy accepts the offer of alliance. A combined fleet of 90 Myrish, Lysine and Tyroshi warships under the banners of the Three Daughters, commanded by the Triarchy's Admiral Shirako Lohar of Lys, will move from the Stepstones, bending their oars for the Gullet. On their way there, they will intercept the ship carrying two of Rhaenyra's sons, Princes Aegon and Viserys. Aegon will escape atop Stormcloud, but Viserys only has a dragon egg. Viserys' fate through the remainder of the Dance of the Dragons is unknown to his family, who believe he died in the battle. Little Aegon, on the other hand, has never flown Stormcloud before, and on top of that, Stormcloud will be terribly wounded as he escapes. When they arrive at Dragonstone, countless arrows are in Stormcloud's belly, and there's a scorpion bolt through his neck. Stormcloud will die, but not before making sure Aegon arrives to safety. Aegon reports the news to Jacaerys, who stayed at Dragonstone while everyone else flew to take King's Landing. Once Jacaerys learns what happened, and that his little brother Viserys has been taken, Jacaerys will immediately mount Vermax and fly to one of the bloodiest sea battles in all of history, while sending Moondancer and Baela to report the news to Rhaenyra at King's Landing and send help. Flying on Vermax to meet the fleet of the Triarchy, Jacaerys attacks a line of Lysine galleys. The sailors have experience fighting dragons during the War for the Stepstones, so their captains direct their spears and arrows against Jacaerys. The help comes from King's Landing as Jacaerys is soon joined by Ulf the White on Silverwing, Rhaena on Sheepstealer, Adam on Seasmoke and Hugh Hammer on Vermithor, and the line of warships from the Free Cities shatter as one galley after another turns away. Jacaerys and Vermax in their rage fly too low, however, and crash down into the sea, possibly wounded from a crossbow bolt to the eye, or pulled down by a grapnel. Vermax struggles in the rigging of a burning galley and sinks with it. Jacaerys manages to get free, but is then killed by Myrish crossbowmen. Thousands die from the battle. The Velaryon fleet loses almost a third of its strength. Jacaerys and his dragon Vermax are killed, including Aegon Stormcloud, and Prince Viserys is taken captive, but presumed dead by both sides. Prince Aegon the Younger will never forgive himself for abandoning his little brother. Ultimately, the battle will be very costly for both sides, and could be considered both a tactical victory for the Greens and a strategic win for the Blacks. Whereas the Blacks lost 2 dragons and the heir to the throne, the Greens fail in their main goal, to break the hold of Valyrian fleet on the east coasts of Westeros. When Corlys is congratulated on his victory over the Triarchy, he replies with, "If this be victory, I pray I never win another." But as I said, while the Battle of the Gullet was originally supposed to happen in Season 2, it's been moved to Season 3 due to budget issues. And in Season 2, we'll only see the Triarchy meeting with the Greens, forging allegiance, and at the very end sail their 90 warships towards the Gullet, while the battle will take place in Season 3. House of the Dragon Season 2 finale will see Rhaenyra flying to Harrenhal to meet with Daemon, and the two then flying over to King's Landing and taking the city in the battle for King's Landing. Rhaenyra and Daemon on Caraxes and Syrax will be accompanied by 4 more dragons and by Sea Snake's fleet, and they will take the city. Let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comment section down below. For free, you can now listen to the entire audiobook Fire and Blood, on which House of the Dragon is based and which covers the entire Targaryen history, including current and future events of House of the Dragon, for free with a notable trial using our link in the description. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next one.